Hello, book lovers, and welcome to day 2 of 30, where I am talking about my top 30 books in celebration of my 30th birthday. Today, we are going to be talking about a well-beloved series, which I know I said I'm not ranking these in any particular way, but I think this could definitely make it into the top 5. And that is going to be the Captive Prince trilogy. I'm going to go ahead and just hold up the first one, but we do have the first book, Captive Prince. This is by C.S. Pacat. Book 2 is going to be Prince's Gambit, which is personally my favorite of the trilogy. And then we finish off the series with King's Rising. There is a short story collection, which I believe has 4 short stories in it called The Summer Palace, and I have this lovely cover of it. Now, the Captive Prince series is one of the first queer stories that I ever read. I believe that Song of a Keeling and Into This River I Drowned are the 3 books that really make up my queer awakening when it comes to male-male romance within the literary world. This is a historical fantasy. There aren't really any fantasy elements in it outside of the fact that this is not like historically accurate to anything that happened in our world. In this book, we are following 2 different characters. We have Damien, also known as Damionos, the prince and future ruler of Aklios, and then we have Laurent, who is the future ruler of Vier. And these 2 kingdoms have been at war and at peace with each other on and off throughout many years. At the beginning of this book, Damionos is captured by his brothers or half-brothers people because his brother is looking to seize the throne, and he is sent to the kingdom of Vier to be a pleasure slave for Laurent. There he starts to plan his escape, but he also starts to map out the political minefield that Laurent lives in and decides that it would be beneficial for the 2 of them to start to work together to throw 2 unworthy people off of their thrones. This is the definition of a slow burn romance. Sometimes you don't even want to call this series a romance. Is it a romance? I mean, there is a romance, and these 2's relationship is probably the most addicting part of this series. There are people that will claim that this is problematic to them. That is their opinion. I personally do not see it, but it could be seen as a slave-master relationship, despite the fact that Damionos is not actually a slave, especially not past book 1, and there is absolutely zero romance between the 2 of them during the first book, where Damionos could be considered in a slave position. That being said, if you are into a highly political world, lots of world building, lots of political maneuvering, the kind of book where you have to like pay attention because Laurent is a chess player while everyone else is playing checkers, and you got to try to keep up with him. Like I said, the relationship between these 2 is addictive. I don't know what it is about these 2 where it is just watching their gradual reliance on each other. Both of them are definitely very strong on their own, but they start to recognize that it is okay to lean on other people, especially Laurent. He has been on his own, very isolated, very much in danger for a big part of his life, and realizing that he can trust Damon was just, it's so heartbreaking. There are definitely some pretty big trigger warnings in this book, especially revolving around like pedophilia and the sexual abuse of children or minors. So while this is one of my all-time favorite series, I definitely want people to know what they are getting into. But that being said, I think C.S. Pacat was very respectful when she was talking about what it means to be a child who experienced sexual abuse or grooming. On top of that, I would say this is definitely a slower paced story, but for me, I am just never bored. I feel that it has a good and steady pace where we are constantly building relationships and building a plot. It has a very satisfying ending, and like I said, it does have a few additional stories which I think really help flesh out a few side characters. There was this one character that I absolutely hated in the first book. However, there is a short story called Pet that follows him, and he suddenly became like one of my favorite characters. So C.S. Pacat, I think, is a very talented writer. I think she's really well known for her excellent world building and the amount of research that she puts into her stories. That shows in the Captive Prince series as well as her Dark Air series, which she is currently working on. And I want everyone to read this, but I also recognize that this is not for everyone. But it is one of my all-time favorite stories, and it will forever and always hold a special place in my heart. Let me know what you thought of the Captive Prince trilogy if you have ever read it, and I will go ahead and see you tomorrow with the next book.